So I guess everything starts in app.js.
Okay, so my
Well, not
advice,
necessarily. Actually, in home, everything happens at home.
don't even go there. Don't
Okay.
even start with this code. Like you might not even have to do anything here. Just go to
Oh, the back end.
just go to the browser. Start with the browser. Show your application in the browser,
Mm-hmm.
and start from there. Show them how it works.
Okay.
Sign some people up, log them out, sign in again, create a post, update a post, delete a post. Once you're done doing that, then you start showing the backend. You don't even have to go to the client folder. As long as you mention, like in your browser, it's like, okay, I have all my routes set up in the backend. So each one of those clicks are hitting an endpoint or a resource in the back. And so you go and you show, like I did, like I went to the sign up. I said, as soon as I click on this button, then I hit this route. And so I went immediately to the route that it was being hit, then to the controller, and then I explained the controller, and then went back. Okay, now this is the login. This is the route that I'm hitting with the login. This is the
Oh,
controller.
you're showing them the commits on the bottom of the terminal there of your VS Code, like as you logged in, like or deleted. You know how like on the bottom of your terminal, it'll show you that you actually hit that endpoint.
No, I mean, if that's your strategy, you could do that. I didn't do it, but I think that would be smart. I mean, and yeah, definitely don't show it through like from GitHub, I would say.
No, no, I want, yeah, I'll pull up VS Code for sure, because there I can play at the terminal. I have access to Rails. I can show them params, all that type of thing. All right, so show them the front end and then show them like the routes. So
No, the UI. You're gonna show the UI first. So
yeah, the front end, just basically like the client, what the client will see on the terminal or on their monitor,
yeah.
and then show them the endpoints. So basically, it would go. I mean, I could speak about the model relations too. That's pretty easy. And then we go to the endpoints. So the first one would be creating a user. A new user goes to the page. They go to the create or sign up page, and when they sign up, it sends those params to the backend to the user controller where we make a post, and hits here user.curate. We use a little exclamation point to raise a active record exception if there's an error. And we throw in user params. So user params are in the private section down here. And we use params permit. This is a security feature so that people can't access like admin privileges by throwing in extra params. It will only allow these specific params to go through to create that user. So, and then we check the session controller for user ID equal to user.id. And then we render JSON. We render user status created.
Quick
So
question.
basically, we create the user and we also log them in at the same time right there.
Right. Quick question. So, what is session right here?
Right here. This is basically logging somebody into session. It basically holds that user ID in session so that we can pull it up. So if during the create we say session user ID equal to user, basically a session user ID equal to this user that was just created. And once we do this line of code here, it actually holds that person in session.
And what is session?
What is session?
Yeah.
Session
Easy-
is
Easy
basically
answer, a cookie. That's all you have to
a
say.
cookie. Okay,
Session is just a cookie.
a cookie.
That's it.
Okay, it's a cookie. I sort of
Yeah.
knew that, but I thought you were like wanting like a more complicated answer.
So well, here's the thing. Here in the backend, session is a method that stores things inside the cookie from the browser, which is also called session. All
Mhm.
right. So, but this, if they ask you, this is the session method, which helps me store or keep track of things in the session cookie. I mean, if you want to explain it that way.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. And then I could get into like, hey, in order to do that, an application controller, include action controller cookies and also um, where is it? Config application. We include these 3 lines of code to also for those cookies as well.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's
Without
a
those,
little extra, but that's great that you know this.
without those 4 lines of code, you can't have cookies. So then the next route we'll hit is after if the user signs in, of course, or signs up, login is the next thing. And so for login is the sessions controller. So we make a post request to the sessions controller and we call it a create method. And we basically say this variable user is equal to, and we find the user by using params, which is the username coming from the front end. And then the next line is the authenticate part. So if user, they find the username. So if Ethan and user.authenticate, and again, we say params.password. So I'm not too sure about the authenticate, how that works, but I'm assuming it's bcrypt and user has secure password all working together in order to authenticate.
So that is a macro. So has secure password. Has secure password allows you to use 2 methods, which are password and password digest. That's what
Yes.
has secure password does. So fail to detect your speak. Check my audio devices. Did you connect to my computer?
Oh, I got it. I think I forgot to hit did whatever go away?
Why don't you use those? I can just there. You turn them off.
Huh?
Sorry,
I'll try.
Bluetooth things. So yeah, but you know what? If you can like know it, but if you can avoid going into the detail with this stuff, do it, because I wasn't asked about it. Like go a little bit into the surface of, well, here I hit my create post. I find I create the user with the params that I was sent from the back from the front end, which you already said.
Mhm.
And if the password is valid, right?
Mhm.
Say that if the password is valid, then
We
I
log the person
store
into session, store
that
them in
user
session,
in the sessions cookie,
and return the
and then return the newly created user back to the front end. I
or
think
generate an error.
keep it that way. Like if you're not too sure about the authenticate, but you were going in the right direction. You went to the
Okay.
macro, and you were explaining that stuff, which is correct.
Okay. So that's login. So the user is now logged in to
Oh
the
shit, are you talking?
application. Yeah. Can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
You
Can you
messing
hear
with
me?
me?
No. Hold on a second.
Where am I? I'm not muting you. Hold on. Audio to speaker.
Not muted. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Are you talking to me, dude?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. What
Can
the
you hear me
hell?
now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like you talk to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. And like you're like,
I thought
can
you
you
were
hear me?
messing with me. Like you were like,
No. No, I don't want to, because I know you have limited time, so I want to like,
No,
I
no,
want
I'm
to
not
get
in a
through
rush.
this.
I'm not in a rush.
So like, I actually feel pretty comfortable with the back end and talking about it. The front end and React is what like I'm scared of. React scares me still to this day. All right, so after the user signs up, logs in, they can also log out. So we'll talk about logouts since they can also log out. So basically, we make a request to the backend to this path or to this action destroy, and it checks if the user is in session, and then it destroys that session, thereby clearing it. And that's it. It's pretty much the simplest action in the whole backend. After that, the
Start getting into CRUD.
yeah, the user can make posts. So on page load, all users have access to view post, and so we use this authorize action down at the bottom, and basically we tell this controller to skip the before action authorize and to only do it on the index. That way, users that are not members can actually see the post, but because of this, they can't create, they can't delete, things like that. We're actually not using this one in the I plan to implement it in the future, but we're not using this one on the front end right now. So first thing the user will do is create a post. So we make a post request to this path right here, and it checks if user is in session, meaning the user is one signed up and logged in. We go post.create and we throw in post params, which is a helper action down here. Post params. And then once this creates it, this will create a Ruby object, but it won't, and I might be saying this wrong, but it won't save it to the database. So in order to save it to the database, we have to do post.update.
No,
No.
create. So create does new and save at the same time. So it's like saying post.new, creating the post and then doing post.save. That's what create does. It's like two methods in one.
Mhm.
So it does save it. I'm curious as to why you have the update there. Did you change anything here?
No, I haven't changed anything here. That's the way mine was coded. It could be wrong. I mean, it works.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's definitely interesting because I mean, update is for the update action.
Yeah, I thought like if you did post.new, you would have to do post.update after, because I know the create does
I mean,
the save.
create would do what you need. Let me see what I have in mind. That's strange. Post controller, create. Yeah, wow, I didn't notice that. Don't even go into that though. I have it the same way, but I think we're not right about this. I
If
don't
anything,
know.
I'm not too worried about that. They can be like, yeah, you don't need that there. They'll just say like, you didn't need. I was like, well, it works. So like, once we go coding through it, we got it to work. And so like, all right, so that's the
Well,
code.
hold on. You know what? I think that update is for the
Session.
oh, that's where we create the relationship. Yeah, okay, I understand. I'm sorry. So here's the deal. The update is because first we're
So
creating
other
the
people can't post.
well, no. So the first thing we do is create the post, but the second thing we do is we need to associate that post with the user in session. So
Oh yeah.
So that's where we go into post that update and we say, well, the user ID is going to be the ID of the one that's in session. And that's how we create that relationship because the post belongs to the user, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on there. Okay.
And then we ran the JSON to the front end. And because we want the post to also show who created that post, we
Mhm.
include the user information with that JSON right here.
Okay, so here they might ask you like, why didn't you use nested
Sure.
routes? And
I don't
here's the
even know what a
answer.
nested route is. Oh,
Wait,
because I didn't need to, I only need to, the reason why I didn't use nested routes is because I only needed to go one deep. If I needed to go further than like, if I needed to go like post.user dot something else, then I would need a nested route.
maybe that would be a good answer. I'm not sure, but the answer that I think would work for you is because I didn't feel too comfortable with them and the information that I needed, I was getting it the way that I coded this. But I will
Yeah.
definitely look into, into nested routes maybe for my next project.
Yeah, a nested route. We were trying to do that with the custom serializer. Remember, we were trying to play with it that one day for a couple hours and we couldn't figure it
Yeah.
out. I think that creates nested routes. So,
Well,
and the
not
other
really.
reason,
Not really. So nested routes are created in the routes, and it's actually very interesting because after my review, I was looking at it, and if you go to your routes right now, let's go to your routes. And actually, let me I'm gonna request remote control so that I can show you really quick.
I don't think you'll be able to code on here.
Oh, I
Remember,
think,
this is,
yeah, I think
I can pull up the VS Code real quick if you want.
yeah, why not? Yeah, I don't really have I'm not like in a rush or anything. I'm just like after 6 could be very late. But all I was saying was because I want to chill. I just want to
Yeah,
take it
I
easy.
don't want to stay up late tonight. I want to chill tonight too. I want to like by, no later than 8 o'clock, just hang out the wife for an hour or two before she goes to bed.
Right, right.
Um,
Okay, let me see if I find it. I was talking to Char earlier about her project. She's doing something similar to me. It's like a farmer's market. Seems pretty cool. Okay, Flatiron. I think this is it. You just take a look at it.
All right, close the client.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely missed that part. I wish I had reviewed this.
If they talked about routes, it was very briefly, very brief. In the
Yeah, but
serial
it was brief, but I think it was enough to make it work. Uh,
Here's the code right there.
okay, hold on. I'm just looking for that lecture. Okay, let me see your screen.
Nested. I don't even. Now you
Yeah,
talk about route.
so check it out. So you have posts, right? Or users. Say that you want to bring the user's post. You could do something like this. This was the part that was difficult for us because if we did it this way, we didn't have to do like a bunch of serializers. We just had a serializer for posts and serializers for users. And because serializers just go one level deep. That's the
Yeah,
problem with serializers.
unless you do a custom one.
Exactly. And then that gets messy. So this would have hit both serializers for post and users. But let me just find the exact code that I can show you.
Oh, you're teaching me something new here because I just set up serializers for my current project. Um, I went through like testing all the relationships and like looking at the JSON return and Postman to get it exactly how I like. And if
Here,
this is
here.
something interesting, I'll use this instead.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. I mean, if it works, I haven't implemented it, but I kind of see it working. So
I'm like literally right at this step in my project. I just set up the serializers today.
here,
And
so you have resources for users, right? So you're gonna get users with their, serialized the way you want it to, and then you can say do just like a method, right? And then inside here, resources. Okay, hold on. Resources, users. Okay, yes.
well, you know what? Hold on a second. You wanted how about doing it here instead? This is my current project. Let me find the routes here for you.
You'll make sure you erase that do from there.
Yeah, let me erase it now.
I want to forget that.
Where is my routes? All right.
Okay.
So
So
let's say
okay,
I
let's
want to
say
show user. I want to show every user. I want to show their favorites.
all right. So you're gonna say users do, and that's gonna open up like an end if you have that. Yeah, you have that, and then you're gonna say uh favorites. Oh, actually, you need to say resources favorites.
Can you close the door, babe?
Oh, so favorites belong to movies, right? Or they're the joint table? Are they the joint table between movies?
Yeah, my favorites are the join table between user and movies.
Okay, fine. So you might have to do something like this because users have many. Okay, hold on. So users have many many movies through favorites, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so many. Okay, so I guess we can try this. If
I
not,
wonder
we
if I
might
have to comment out my serializers too.
I don't think so. No, because these are going to work with those serialized. So okay, so this is a nested route. That means that your endpoint is basically going to look like, localhost, whatever.
I'll show
User.
it right now. We can do it because I got post. I'll start up the server, and I got Postman open on my screen here. So that was the users, right?
Okay, so yeah, so users this is just going to show you users. Oh.
So now I set this up with serializers already to be something
Right.
like this.
Right.
So
Well, that's fine. Just keep it that way. Keep it that way. Don't get rid of the or comment out the serializer because
I was gonna comment
that's
them
not
out.
even the route that we need to hit. So the route that we're gonna hit is users slash and then favorites. Let's go back to the browser.
I mean, this.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that one. And let's do slash. Let's try one, actually. And then slash favorites. This might break, but we're just testing it out. Check it out.
So user one, the favorites of user one.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Um,
Which apparently is just one. And I think you have it serialized that way.
Probably I can, let me do this real quick. And you say I could do that without any of the serializers?
Well, no, I think you might
there we
want
go.
the serializers, but yeah. So the nested route will hit this, and I'm guessing that movie is the only one that's in favorites for that.
Yeah, I just got one user, one movie. So this is user ID 1. And their favorites, just one movie.
And just yeah, in the movies.
And that's a
Right.
nested route. So,
That's-
but did he say anything, or did he say anything like what's better to use, a serializer or the nested route?
Well, so here's the thing. We broke REST conventions because we were going straight to the endpoints instead of going like users one / favorites. We were going like to users and then having the user return with the favorites. We set it up so that the user endpoint actually return the favorites when it should be, they should be separate from each other in a way. If we go to the users and we want the favorites, then let's just go to the users, find the one, and return the favorites, which is a different endpoint, basically. So it's like we hit an endpoint and then we hit another endpoint in the same action because of the way that those conventions work. Now, I'm not an expert in this, but
Oh,
he said, well, if your application works the way you have it, then that's your answer to me. Your answer to me should be, well, I didn't think I needed it for my application because my data was coming back the way I wanted it.
so we could find it by user dot one. We can find all users by ID now. So we're not even hitting the show route or show action. And then we can find our favorites. That's pretty cool.
Yep, it is convenient.
So like, remember how we like struggled to like include like all those, the user thing with the post? If we'd have done this, right, we could have just made so now,
This is the right way to do it.
huh?
This is the right way to do it.
So
We
now,
just did the hardcore way.
wow. And then, so if I want, do so now movie. So movies /1, movies /1. Movies /1. Oh, that's because I don't have favorites as user. No. All right. So why is that broken? Movies 1 user. Oh, anyway, you know what? Like, we could talk about this. I know you have limited time.
Yeah.
I'd rather focus on tomorrow, getting through tomorrow's
Well, yeah, no, we only
Right.
touched on that because they might ask you about nested routes, but now you know, and you could, if they ask you to like show them a little bit, then you can probably mess around with it, look at this code and check it out.
Mhm.
Maybe write it down in your VS Code and comment it out just to have it there, uh, for reference.
Oh, and on the other
Yeah,
one,
yeah, it would be line 8 and line 5, and it's not that one. It's not the one you copied it. That would be
this one. This
right.
is
So
the app.
you would say users do, and then inside, so resources, users, right?
Yeah, it'll be users do.
And then resources, posts. And yeah, that would actually return them the way we wanted it to.
I'll remember that now. That's an easy like one to remember.
It is. So comment that out and keep the one that you had so that
I'm just gonna erase it all together. I mean, I remember that. That's an easy one to remember.
all right.
They must have like, I don't know how I forgot that if they covered that in the curriculum.
Yeah. I kind of had it in mind, but we were doing so many things that we
Yeah.
didn't get to it.
All right, so we left off on post, right? Post that. I think right here is when he asked you about nested
Yeah.
routes. So if they ask me about that, be like, hey, I was like, I just learned that yesterday, and I can show her. And then so this is the update, and we return the user information back to the front end via this.
Yeah, well, including the user. So you return the
Including
post, including its user.
user. But you know what? They also teach us this too in the curriculum because I got this from a lab.
Yeah.
I look back at a lab and some other things, and one of our labs had that in it. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's actually the same one, the nested routes one.
And then for destroy, we post equals find post, and we use this helper function in the private area to find the post by the ID. And we say if post user ID equal to the person that's in session, post.destroy. What this does is it prevents people who are not the original poster from deleting the post. So only the original user can delete it.
Or the creator of the post. Only creators of that specific post can delete it.
Yeah. Post.destroy. Otherwise, the renders you are not authorized. And then we did the update already. Yeah, so we did destroy, update, we did create.
No, we haven't done the update.
We haven't, I thought we did.
No, that one update.
Oh, this was the one update. Okay.
Yeah.
So on the update, it's very similar. We find the post.find using params. And if the post user ID, the user ID of the post is equal to the user ID of the person in session, then post.update, and we use post params, which is also down here as in the private
Right. So
area.
it's just like the destroy. You can't update or destroy if you don't own that post. And that's what those lines are doing. That's what that if statement is doing.
Yeah.
You're not the owner, then you're not allowed to delete. And that would raise
And then
it.
we use the exclamation to throw a flag for active record for the
All right,
rescue.
quick question.
Yeah.
Why do we use the JSON? Why do we do the render JSON line there? Why is that important?
Well, Ruby and React are two different languages. So JSON is like the go-between. So JSON, we can take a Ruby object, stringify it, send it back to the front end, and the front end is able to read it.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect answer. Better than mine. I was stuck here in this question.
But that's a weird, I mean, why do we render JSON? Like I heard your I saw your I think you put a text or something out this on the chat or something. Like that would confuse me too, the way it was worded, like the render, like why render? You mean like why not return it? Why render? Like I understand I understand what JSON does and why it's there, but if you're asking me like why render, I'd have been like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I started like guessing stuff, and then he asked me again and like tried to rephrase his question. And I was a little bit lost. I didn't know what he wanted. Then he mentioned the JSON. I was like, oh, okay. I kind of see where you're going.
Yeah,
But
it was, I think, a poorly worded question. He should have like honed in instead of on the render, more on the JSON than the render. All right, so that's the update. That's all the CRUD.
That's
Like I
it.
said, the backend I feel pretty comfortable with.
You know what you could talk about? You could probably talk about your valid, like briefly, not even comment about what each validation is doing, but as soon as you hit that exclamation mark in the update or the create, then I actually liked a lot the way you explained it. Like if if this is not a valid post, then or user, then Active Record is gonna
right here.
raise an error. But the way that raises an error is if the validations are not correct, and those are in your model. So if you go to like the users or the post model, you
Oh
have
yeah,
validations for those.
no.
So you can just highlight them just like you did right now and be like, okay, so as soon as the question mark, if one of these validations, and you go to this model and you say if one of these validations happens to be invalid, then Active Record raises an error and blah blah blah, right? But if everything is on check, then the user is created or the post is created.
I think it even does more than that too. Like those validations, like even if like this is an Active Record rescue. And although it doesn't say what full messages are, you can actually console log, like if you're getting funky things on your console. I did it today with Nick. I was creating an object. It was creating it in Ruby, but it wasn't assigning it an ID. So what I had to do is take that instance that I created and say movie equals movie.create, blah, 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 blah. And then once I created that, and I did movie dot errors dot full messages, and it sent back a why I was not creating that object, basically. And it all did that like without validations or anything. So like Active Record sort of knew in the background what was going on. It was pretty interesting the way he had me do that. I was like, oh, it's like
I kind of remember this. This is part of a lecture too.
Yeah, typically these were written at the bottom of your controllers here, but eventually you would write it here, then you'd write it here and here. I don't even know what the heck a fallback controller.
Yeah, that fallback controller was to deploy.
Oh, okay. Do we even need that? I don't know. Yeah, that was, we did so many changes to try to deploy these things. I forgot.
Yeah. What's up, babe? Right.
So anything else on the back? I think the back end, I'm pretty good. Like I said, I feel a lot more comfortable on back end than front end. My thing is, Front end.
You didn't get to see my challenge.
Oh man, I read about, I was doing some stuff today. I had to go to the DMV and all that. And I read your text. I'm just like, oh gosh. I was like, I hope mine is not like that.
I don't think so. Mine was kind of strange.
Man, you get like the worst.
I get pretty bad. Well, not bad, but like difficult ones. All of my reviews have been really difficult.
So I kind of want to review some things here just in case they ask me to, which they probably will ask me about the front end a little bit. So initially,
They
this
won't
had
ask you
start-
about it.
I'm sorry.
They won't ask you about the front end.
All right. I went through it anyway. There's one particular thing maybe you can explain to me. I'll ask you about routes tomorrow. You available tomorrow to like talk about routes a little bit for my current project?
Yeah,
That way
yeah,
I'll
no,
use
yeah,
them
no
all.
problem.
So this current project starts out, I'll just do it real quick. This current project starts at homepage. So on page load, basically it renders a post. Actually, I'd have to start it all the way in
App.js.
app.js. Well, app.js has the use effect. So what happens is two things. It loads check session ID and it also fetches posts. So we fetch all posts. We set posts and we also set current user as a variable up here in this hook. And then we send that down to the home page. On home, we map through posts and generate a single post and return a single post as a component. And we return it right here with this callback generate post. And so that's how all the posts are generated when the user logs into homepage. So at that point, a user can choose to sign up. Sign up. On sign up, we have a form, username, password confirmation, and we have these event listeners on here listening for an on change. This function here sets the state. It uses everything that's on the form and plus state. And we're basically targeting that by name, and we're targeting the value. And by name, I mean right here, password, username.
Excellent.
Targeting those values. The spread operator, this is telling it everything that's on the form plus the current state, right?
Well, yeah, everything. So if the thing with this is like if state is empty, then it's going to create a new key with the e.target.name, right? So if there is no such key as let's go down for a second, one of those targets. If there's no such key as username, for example, then it will create it. But if there is a key called username, then it's not gonna bother in creating it. It's just gonna, have it there. And then it's gonna include whatever other target is being targeted. Like the next one is password. So say the first time you're clicking on your password, right? Or your username, you're typing in your username. So state is going to be empty. So that ... state is going to be nothing. So e.target.name, there's a new key that's going to be created inside this new object, right? And it's going to be called username. And the value is going to be whatever you typed in. So the next time you go and type your password, so it hits this on change and it says, okay, ... everything that's in state. At that point, you have a key in state that's called username. So it's going to be like copy username with its value, but now add e.target.name with its value, which is going to be now password. So now you're going to have two. You're going to have two keys. The one that was already in state, which was username, plus password, including its value. So that's
Yeah,
what you have.
I understand that. How would you read that? Like, I always get confused and I'm trying to get that down finally. I know it's the spread operators, like everything that's there plus, like, how would you read it?
Yeah. So yeah, just like that is in. So okay,
What
let
does
me
the
say
dot
this.
dot dot represent? I know it's a spread operator, but like,
Right,
what
right,
does
right.
that
So
represent?
here's what like you should visualize. It's like you have you have an object, right, called state, which has curly brackets. Now, when you set state here, you're saying, okay, let's grab state, but let's remove those brackets. Let's remove them. So we have like the data is like floating now. It's like it's not contained. You brought everything outside of the box, basically. It's not contained. Those brackets gone, and you have raw data, right? Just floating. So what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I have a different box over there, right? Which is currently empty. So I'm gonna grab these things that used to be in state. I'm gonna put it in this new box. And that new box, I need those yellow parentheses, curly brackets that you have in line 10. That's your new box. So you're moving everything that was on state to this new box that you're creating here in line 10 with those curly brackets, and then you're adding to it. So it's like
So
both
this is basically saying everything within state right here, plus the new items.
plus the everything that's after the comma. You know, it could be anything. It could be whatever you want. That's just saying, give me all the properties inside of state. You're not like you're not copying the entire object. That's why I said you're removing the brackets.
All right, so this is not two separate things. This is one thing right here.
That is what do you mean?
This is not two separate things. The dot 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 state, that's one thing. That's not two separate things. 'Cause I've been looking at it as two separate things this whole time. Like, so I should look at it like I could almost look at this like, hey, we're gonna grab this and put it over where these dots are. Can I look at it sort of like that?
No,
No.
no, no. That dot 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 uh is basically a method that extracts everything from an object. Think about it like the hand. Those dot is the hand that reaches into the box, grabs everything that's in the box, moves it, and puts it in a new box. Where those you know they weren't there originally. But so the difference is that this new box, empty, you put it into a new box, but you're also going to put other stuff, including the things that you just took out of box A, for example.
So I can read that whole line as we're gonna set state to state plus whatever the value is of the current target.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we set state and then we're talking about sign up. And we have a on submit here that goes to this function on submit. Prevent default to prevent the form from clearing out before the button is hit. Well, not before the button is hit, before the form can submit. And then we have a configuration object that we're sending to the back end. We stringify the data and we throw in the state that we just set from the on change up here. And then it goes to the back end. We make a post request to the back end, throw in the configuration object.
How are
The
you able to
response-
dispatch to users?
How are we able to fetch to users?
Yeah, how come you don't have like HTTP localhost?
Oh, because we set this up on the JSON file right here. We have a
Nice.
proxy 3000. And
Right.
so basically that slash is after this 3,000, and that's how we're
Right.
able to go to users.
Cool.
And it goes to the back end responds with the data. And then from that data, we send it back up using props, handle user login and sign up data. It goes back up to app.js, handle user login and sign up. If there's errors, it'll run this function. If there's no errors, and hopefully there's not, it'll set current user.
Right.
And
It'll put
then
that in the statement.
and then you're saying if no errors, push to the home page. And so that's right after you log in or sign up, that's what happens.
Right.
I think we're doing still sign up. Login is sort of the same thing, a form. We grab the on change, we set state with the on change on the form. And then we also have a on submit on the form, actually set state on these text fields down here. The on submit is on the actual form. And we stringify state, we send it to the back end, we make a fetch request to login. And again, goes back up to the same function we just did. If there's no errors, it sets the current user and it pushes them to the home page. So now they're logged in, a user can create a post. So same thing here. We have a form with a blog title and contents that they can fill out with on change and an on submit on the form. When they type on the form, it sets state with that on change. And we take that state, we throw it into this fetch, which is on submit. We throw state right into there. It goes to post, the configuration object. It responds back, and we tell it if no errors, to set data plus the posts that are on there. So this is how we get the first post, how we get that post to actually be the first one on top of the page. We used to have this backwards, post data. And then we also take data and we send it up to the same function through props up in app.js, and it sets the, if there's no errors, it sets the current user and pushes to the home page. So the next one is edit. So on edit, same thing, a form. This one I think is the one that confused me because it had all this stuff here. I'm still not 100% confident with like this blog tab stuff that we
Yeah,
did.
you don't need to explain any of that stuff.
So, and then it's spread out between the two different components too. So same thing, we grab the values from this form, we make a patch request to the back end. We actually we set state to form. We put form in to the stringify, goes to the back end. Post post.id. So this is going to the post show request. And these are the params that are basically the ID of the post.
No,
right?
no, it's not the show. Remember, this is an update.
Oh yeah, an update. So it needs to know which
Well,
post to update.
The reason it knows if it's a show or a post or an update is because of the method of the request. Right?
Yeah, true. I saw this ID thing and I instantly thought show. So each post has an ID. And so the backend needs to know which post to delete. So we have to, or to update. So post, and we throw in post.id. the config object, which is the information on the form. It makes the request to the back end. The back end checks for this post ID and it updates it and then sends it back. If no errors, we set post and we map through it. It returns all posts. We map through it to a single post. And we basically tell it to return, I'm sorry, single post. This is a ternary. Single post ID equal to the ID of the single post ID equal to the ID of the post that we made the update to.
Yeah.
So this is the post that we made the update to right here. This is the post we're mapping through. So we're basically wanting to, as each post is being mapped through, we're asking it to, for this one right here, the one that matches this one, that equals that post. If that's true, we
Then
want to
replace.
set post to data. If it's not true, we want to set it to single post.
Yeah, so return the post that you're iterating through. So it's like, if the ID doesn't match, then that's fine. Just put that post as it is. If they match, then replace that post for data. Put data instead of that post,
Mhm.
like, right? Because it's not updated here. So it's like, okay, data goes there. Because data is the updated post.
Yeah. And this is like doing nothing basically. This is a single
Yeah,
post.
well, it
Finds
is.
the
It's just
post,
returning the post as it is.
the post as it is, not unupdated, not updated.
Right.
So if all goes well, we set post and it gets set back up to app.js where we set post right here. And then of course that whole thing goes through again where it goes back to the home page or home component. And right here, we map through it and that's how we generate, that post gets added to the screen with all the other posts. It generates different components, which is a post. And then the deletes. No, did we do edit posts? Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
did
just
edit.
did that.
Delete.
I think you're looking at blog card tab.
For the delete. No, block card. Edit post, errors, home, login, logout. New post. I should have made a delete component. Now let's go through and try to find it.
No, I think it is blog card tab. You have delete post right there. Look, you had handle delete and everything.
Oh, okay. So
That handle delete probably comes
yeah,
from.
so we have a
that.
button here. Yeah, so we have a button in the blog card tab that handles delete posts. So on click this function, the props go back up to
Probably app.js. Oh, okay.
right here, form, just one level up. And then we have this delete request here. And it posts and it grabs the ID of the post. We throw in the configuration object, which was from the previous.
Well, no, it's right there. It just basically tells it the type of request this is going to be. Which
Oh yeah, just that delete. It responds. It responds okay. Set post, and we filter through it through all the posts, and we want to return the single post. And we're telling to return post ID equal to the ID of the post that was deleted.
No. So you're deleting, right? So you want everything that's in posts, but the one that you,
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, not equal. I forgot the bang operator right there. I skipped over that. So yeah, filter through it, through all posts, if iterates through each post, and return post ID not equal to the ID of the post that was deleted.
yeah, well, that's not what it's returning though. Like when you say that, it sounds confusing because it sounds like that's what's returning, but that's just a condition. What this filter is returning is post. It goes through every post, and if it matches the condition, then it returns that post. So whatever it's on the other side of the arrow is just the condition. That's not what's being returned really. That's just true or false.
So I was going
But-
through post number one. Is this post ID equal to the ID of the post I just deleted? No. So it
Which is-
returns that one.
Right, because it's true.
And then it goes to the second one. Says, is this post ID not equal to the ID of the post? Yes, it returns that one. And then it gets to the third one. Is this post ID not equal to the ID of the post?
Say that it is. Say that say that it's not. So that
It's
means
not.
that that's true. So or so I'm sorry.
It is that
It is
it's
equal.
not- It is equal. It
So that's
doesn't,
false.
it doesn't return that one. It's false. It doesn't return it. So it goes to the next post and returns the next post and the next post.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's how we delete. Yeah, this handle tab thing here, and this
Handle
is just
tab-
how. I'm
None
just
of
gonna
that
tell
is
her straight out.
important.
I'm gonna tell her straight out. I was like, listen, I was like, I had a cohort teammate that had a great idea for my tabs, and we worked on doing this, and I'm not 100% comfortable at this. It's kind of brand new to me, but we worked as a team to get these tabs to switch back and
Yeah,
forth.
no, you're not gonna be asked about any of this, man. This is all front end. I mean, it's good that you covered it just for practice, but they're not gonna ask you about it. They might ask you to do something with it in your live code, but you're gonna have to like figure it out, maybe Google it or something.
Google what? What exactly was your live code?
Well, now I don't want to tell you because you're gonna flip out.
Oh, okay. Don't. Yeah. Well, I have the girl that did our filled in for Nick. She said, "Oh, the Ruby one. That's easy." Yeah. All right. Don't tell me because I don't want to stress out. You're right.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
definitely be ready to like change some things in your maybe your front end. I don't know. I think mine was exceptional, but I know Max was told to like do like a search field. But I think you can do a search field with a control component like what you have there. If anything, you can just copy what you have from your
Yeah. You mean like I set up a form and I put a on change on it, right?
yeah, or say that they ask you to like be able to search posts by by name or something like that.
Whew.
But that seems complicated. And I don't think they're gonna ask you that because it might take more time than you actually have for your review. But just keep that in mind that it could be, you could be asked to do a search component.
I hope she
We'll
was like,
see,
oh
man.
yeah. She goes, oh, the Rails review. Oh, that's an easy one. I mean, you guys just blah, blah. Remember what she said about the Rails review?
Yeah,
So when I saw her name, I'm like, ooh, I'm booking her.
that's that's who Tyler has too.
When is his? Tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, all
He
right.
asked me to do a mock review but he hasn't reached out.
Yeah, he's been gone for the past few days. Like, I don't know what's up.
He was there today, but I don't know.
All right.
All right, man. That was really good. Honestly, both front end and back end. That was great. I think you have a really good understanding. Even yeah, I want to say that even better than my like. If you review it that way, your review is better than mine.
Like I said, on the back end, I feel good. Like this whole camp, like really React is my nemesis. Like, I mean, I guess I'm getting a little bit better, but like, it seems like I see the stuff you do with it. I'm like, it's almost like jaw dropping. And then I did this tutorial for this app that I'm doing, and like, I'm like, wow, there's like a whole world of stuff for React out there that we haven't even been exposed to.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
But all
That's-
right, yeah, I don't want to hold you up too long. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Tomorrow, maybe like I definitely I need to start setting up routes, and I've got them set up. I got them imported, but I'm doing something wrong. I mean, I could go back to the material, but there's something I want to do with it, and I know something stupid I'm missing. So maybe tomorrow, we could just hop on a Zoom and look at it real quick, and you let me know what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow is, I'm gonna try to make it my last day coding my app. So I'm gonna try to finish tomorrow. Which means that it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be available, but just for you to keep that in mind so that we can make it brief, because I plan to like puzzle tomorrow and get it done.
Yeah, it'll be brief. It's just going to be about my routes. That's all it is. I mean, I don't think it should take more than a half an hour, if that.
Yeah. No, that's a good topic because I'm actually gonna probably refactor my thing with what we're gonna do together. So sounds good, man. I'm gonna send you these. I'm gonna upload this link as soon as it's downloaded, and I'm gonna pass it to you so that you can review it if you want in the morning or whenever, or for the guys to have it because I think it was a really good presentation. So I think maybe the guys might get something out of it.
You see this?
That's your app.
This is the app.
Money heist has been.
That's pretty cool, man.
It's like I'm
It's
starting to
pretty-
work on it. I got this thing up here. I got to do a little CSS up here, but my login, log out. I just want to tomorrow set the routes for these. There's like something I'm doing wrong. And then I'm gonna create another page to make movies and have them render down here at the bottom.
That's pretty sweet. They're honestly looks pretty cool.
How he did it is pretty cool. Not every card has a preview movie because of the
Yeah. Of the API.
of the API,
Yeah.
but some of them do. It could be hard coded to like play the same thing, so I try to find like a generic one and thought about putting it on there, but yeah,
Yeah.
and like, oh crap.
I'm definitely interested in building my own Netflix clone. I'm gonna definitely do that if I have time. Been
It was
wanting to
easy,
do it.
man. You like there's a tutorial online and they say in 3 hours. I spent a lot more than 3 hours on it though, but
Yeah, but I mean, look how far you got.
yeah, the front end is 80% there.
That's insane, man. When you showed me that, I was like, you just started this thing. You had it almost done in like a day or two.
Yeah.
Sweet,
Well, that
man.
one day that I stood up to like 3:30 in the morning. That one day, like I got into this Netflix things and just stood on there. Like I started like got like a second win. I started like it was exciting to do that. Actually, I learned. Oh, you got a quick 2 minutes. I want to show you something real quick. It's nothing. Have you seen this?
Can you do me a favor really quick?
Yeah,
Can you stop sharing screen so that I can stop recording? Because for some reason I can't. If you
yeah.